Hi everybody. So, welcome to our talk. The thought of today, or the message right now, is this idea that you are not you. I know that's a tricky one. I know it's a very deep message, and it's very, very interesting and challenging to understand, maybe. But the main idea right here is that I, Marcus, am not Marcus. You, watching this, are not who you think you are. Marcus, the idea of Marcus is made up of a bunch of habits, thoughts, personalities, things that I have gotten used to throughout my life that I think is me. So, and desires and wants and needs that this body, this personality has taken on throughout my life. It's become used to thinking, well, I want a partner. Well, I want this. Well, I need this to feel whole. I need that kind of money to feel whole. I don't have enough to... All the lack and desires and wants and needs live in the personality of Marcus. All the conflicts with other people live in the personality of Marcus. All of the conflicts within Marcus lives in the personality of Marcus. And I'm not unique. This goes for you as well. So the message here is that what we really are is the deeper engine, light, energy that's beyond my level of personality, this body, this Marcus, this way of thinking about Marcus. I am much more my body. In the reality of the expression of the universe is, it's much more my body than my thinking and my personality. If I can take off the personality and I can step into pure awareness, which is awareness of this moment, it's awareness and consciousness of this now, and knowing deep down inside, knowing that I am not my thoughts, I am not Marcus. I am the expression of life itself in this moment. That this body is much like the bird or the tree or the grass, an expression of the energy of life itself. And from that perspective, the personality of Marcus is where all the suffering lives, all the pain lives. And on any level, right, we look at you as an individual, we can look at a country, or we can look at the world. The more humans have identified with their personality, or their country, or a certain religion, or a certain political view, the more pain we have been creating all across the world. Because we go into being identified. I get identified with my physical being and my thoughts patterns, and then I make other people wrong because they don't think like I do, they don't act like I do, they don't have my approval, which is so important. And if we can take off our personality, take off who you think you are, become aware of your deeper perspective, that you watch yourself, that you are not your habits, you are not your bad habits, your good habits, you are an expression of life itself. And on that level, when we look at our world, I just saw a bird outside my window maybe half an hour ago, and that bird was jumping around eating on little insects from the leaves of this tree outside my window. And if we look at Earth Mother as a big organism, that bird is like a tiny bacteria eating other tiny bacteria from the tree. That's another bigger bacteria. If we look at our bodies and the interactions that are going on inside of our bodies, the cells dividing, the bacteria living on here, some bacteria eats other bacteria, some white blood cells comes around, protecting this body from diseases. Red blood cells are transporting oxygen throughout the body. We can see when we look at this on a microscopic level that the functions that are happening inside of my body, which I am completely unaware of, right? I am not aware unless I really sit and focus in on it. But I'm not aware in my day-to-day life, I'm not aware that blood is pumping through my veins. I mean, most of us aren't until we cut ourselves, and then we're very much aware of it. But normally, we're not aware of all the little functions going on in our body, and we're not aware of all the bacteria and all the little stuff growing on our body, growing inside of our body all the time, at any point in time. There's a ton of different bacteria and a ton of different cells dividing, and organisms in our body fulfilling different functions, making our bodies work. Just like the little bird on the tree was eating insects from, and fulfilling a function for the world to keep expanding, becoming. And in that way, we humans are also like a bacteria on Mother Earth. We have become more of a virus because we are so overtaken by selfishness and egotism and thinking, identification with who we think we are. Not realizing we're just a part of the whole. We are not the whole. We're not the purpose of why we're here. Human beings are not a purpose in themselves. Human beings we're an expression of life itself. Life itself is the purpose. Life itself is what we're here to serve, which is also Earth Mother. So on these different scales, we can see that if we zoomed out far enough and we looked at Earth like you can see your own body, then we would be nothing but both bacteria and to a certain extent a virus invading our own host. And that's where this awareness of being an expression of life itself comes in. When we can doff and let go of the personality, and we realize that we are all connected, that we're here to help our world, we're here to help ourselves and our world. And as long as we live in that incessant need, incessant desire, unmet desire, as long as we live there only, thinking that if I could only have that person to love me, if I could only have that amount of money in my bank account, if I could only have this job, then I would be happy, and then I can express myself. You are life here and now. You doff your personality now, that's the end of suffering. That's the end of the pain cycle that we've been living in for our whole lives. Slowly being programmed as we grew up, and not programmed by anyone in particular, by habits, by ego, by things that have grown up in our society and in each of our individual families. The pain and the suffering we took on growing up, and then we made that our own. The way out of it is to release and doff the person who I see as Marcus. Release. Become aware that I am not Marcus, that I am something much deeper. Of course, later on today, I'll walk through the room and I'll forget. Later on tomorrow, I'll forget and then I'll remember. Over and over and over. This is our beginning of, the steps into deeper consciousness. The more aware we are of who we really are, the less personal we'll take everything going on. The less personal we'll be. Then we become the expression of life itself. And then we'll be that bacteria, that bird, that's filling the function they're here to do. Not overly taking from anything. So just like if we get an infection or too many bacteria of something bad, it's going to eat us up. That's what humans are doing to Earth Mother. And when the balance is reset, when white blood cells comes around, other bacteria comes around, everything evens out, the balance is reset. We can be free to just do our purpose. That's the same when you doff your personality, you'll become free to do your purpose. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. These conversations become lovely as we do these together. Thank you. Namaste and aho.